And record. All right, the court is calling cause number 5643. This is a hearing on a petition in suit affecting parent-child relationship with an acknowledgement of paternity. Parties in this case are Taylor Longoria and Sharon Baker. This matter was set in the Van Horn docket today, November 13th at 8:30 Central Time. It is now almost 9 o'clock. Mr. Longoria is not present. The return on file indicates that he was served with citation back on May the 13th of this year. There's no response filed by Mr. Longoria, and he is not present at this time that the case is being called. My name is Antonio Rodriguez. I am the Associate Judge for the Title 4D Court here in El Paso, Texas, with jurisdiction in Culberson County, Texas, according to local rules. I'm calling this case at this time, and we're appearing on this Zoom application since we cannot appear in court because of the current pandemic crisis that's going on. However, the Supreme Court of the State of Texas have permitted courts to conduct remote hearings, and we're doing so under this Zoom application. And further, in compliance with the Texas rules, this matter is being live streamed in the YouTube channel. That is to comply with the Texas rules that we have to keep open courts available to the public. However, as soon as the hearing is completed, then that live stream will be taken off the YouTube channel. I am also recording the evidence on the computer-generated system. That is the official record of this proceeding here today. And since we are proceeding on this Zoom application, there may be some audio difficulties. Some people get inadvertently kicked out of the session. If that should happen, Ms. Baker, all you need to do is just sign back in and I'll let you back in. Okay. All that being said then, I'll ask the Attorney General to make an announcement on this case. Mr. Hargis?
For the Attorney General Child Support Division, John Hargis, present and ready.
All right, and Ms. Baker, are you ready to proceed today, ma'am?
Yes, sir, I'm ready.
All right, ma'am, if I can have you raise your right hand so I can swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. If you can lower your hand now. Thank you. Sorry. Go ahead, sir.
The state asks the court to take judicial notice of the service on Mr. Longoria. He was served on May 13th, 2020. Service citation and a copy of the order setting hearing. As well, he was served a notice of the hearing today.
All right, the court will take notice of the return of service that has been on file for the requisite period of time. It does appear to be in proper form. And I will also take just a notice of the pleadings on file in this case. Go ahead.
Your state calls Ms. Baker.
Okay.
Please state your full name.
Sharon Baker.
And what's your child's name?
Ellie Longoria.
And your child's date of birth?
February 2nd, 2019.
And the name of the father?
Taylor Longoria.
Did you sign an acknowledgement of paternity right after the child was born?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Did the father sign that acknowledgement of paternity?
Mm-hmm.
Can you say yes or no?
Yes.
The state asked the court to would like to submit this acknowledgement of paternity as an in-camera inspection through the email system to inspect it. It's acknowledgement of paternity signed by each parent for the child, establish the paternity.
All right. Once I do receive it, I'll take judicial notice of the acknowledgement of paternity.
For identification purposes, the state has marked. And the email has been sent.
Okay, all right.
Who's the child live with?
She lives with me.
Who makes the day-to-day decisions for the child?
Me.
Would you like to share the decision-making with Mr. Longoria regarding your child's health, education, and welfare?
I don't think that that would be the best decision because of his drug use and the aggressive behavior that he has shown. And he really isn't around her at all to make decisions.
Has he threatened you in the past?
Yes, sir.
How recent what were these threats?
He has threatened me within recent weeks about staying in my home without my permission, coming in my home without my permission. He threatened me physically. It was a few months ago. It was in April, I believe, April or May. I'm not entirely sure the specific date or anything, but he has threatened me in recent months.
What happened that may have led up to those threats?
The physical was because I didn't want to get back together with him. And every time I'd say no to getting back together, he would threaten physically. And his reasons for wanting to be in my home, I guess he wants to visit his daughter. And I've told him he can come to Van Horn, but he can't stay in my home. And he threatens to come anyway. He doesn't want to, I think he doesn't want to pay for a hotel room, is his thing. I don't know.
Has he threatened you through any other type of communication?
Phone call mainly. But he's made other threats like on Skype and text message, not physical, but other threats.
You said text messages. How do you know those text messages came from him?
He calls to check on his daughter every now and then, and he'll also call on FaceTime as well sometimes. So I see his face, I hear his voice, I know it's his number.
Those text messages or Skype messages have his picture on them?
The Skype ones have his picture, yes, sir.
And you recognize him in those photographs?
Yes, sir.
Did you take any screenshots?
I did.
And you provide those screenshots to the state?
I did. Mm-hmm.
And in those screenshots and text messages, he made threats to do harm?
Not towards me, but at one point he thought that I was with somebody else and threatened with firearms. And I have proof of that in those messages.
Did he admit to any drug addictions?
Yes, sir.
What type of drug did he say he was using?
Methamphetamines.
Did he say that he has any control over his addiction?
He said he does not.
With the threats and the drug use and the addiction, do you think it'd be in your child's best interest for him to have access to your child?
I don't think it is in her best interest.
If you were to have to supervise those visits, would it subject you to harm, possible threats?
Yes. Yes, it would.
Would you feel comfortable with any other adult, like a relative, also supervising in his presence?
No.
Would you be in fear for their safety around him?
Yes.
How about the child's safety?
Yes, I would be in fear for her safety as well.
Do you think it'd be in your child's best interest for the father to have access to him for visitation?
No, it would not be in her best interest.
Are you asking the court to be the sole managing conservator for this child?
Yes.
Sole managing conservator, meaning that you would make the large decisions and you'd have the final say on the child's decisions regarding health education.
Yes, I'm sorry.
When's the last time the father visited the child?
The last time he came down here himself was in February. The last time he saw her, because I was up in Dallas, was in October, and we met at a park.
How many times since the child was born has he visited the child?
A total of 6 times.
And the last time was in February of 2020.
Where he came down, yes.
He came down from Dallas to Van Horn.
Yes.
So there's been like 9 months that have passed since that last visitation.
Yes, sir.
He has not expressed, has he expressed a desire to come visit during this?
Yeah, he does. And then he'll say that he's coming to visit and he'll stay at a motel room. And then those days pass and I ask him, are you still coming? And I don't hear from him.
During those last visits, did you know or able to detect whether he's under the influence of any controlled substances?
He admitted to me on two occasions where he came to visit that he was withdrawing, that he was using every day prior to coming, and he was withdrawing from the drugs, and he admitted that.
Your Honor, the state offers what has been marked for identification purposes of states number 2, which is the copies of all the text messages that were sent from Mr. Longoria to Ms. Baker and submitted by email.
All right. All right, the court has received the text messages and we'll go ahead and the screenshots. We'll go ahead and admit the screenshots at this time, the State's Exhibit 2. And the court did receive the acknowledgement of paternity that was executed by the parties. This acknowledgement does appear to be in proper form, so I will also take notice of the acknowledgement of paternity. Go ahead, Mr. Vargas.
Ms. Baker, are you asking the court to have for the father to have no visitation?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know where the father works?
I don't. I all I know is he works for a company that fixes gutters, but I don't know the name of the company or anything like that.
You know how much he earns?
I don't.
Okay. Do you know of any other sources of income that he may have other than the job that he has?
His uncle owns a similar business, and he'll go back and forth from Arlington to Austin and work for his uncle as well.
Do you know if he has any other children?
He doesn't, as far as I know.
Are you working?
I am. I have 2 jobs.
Do you have health insurance available for your child through your job?
I don't. She's currently on Medicaid.
Do you have health insurance available to you through any other source?
Through my mom. I'm still on my mom's insurance.
For the child?
Not for her. They only, because I'm her child, they only allow me. So for Ellie, I had to get Medicaid.
Okay. Since the child was born, has Mr. Longoria provided any support for the child?
Through money, cash that he's given me, or money orders, or the app Cash App. I had an estimate. This is from what I've counted up since she was born. It was about $940.
Okay. Do you know what retroactive child support is?
Yes.
Are you asking the court to for retroactive child support?
Yes, sir.
Which county do you live in?
Culberson County.
Do you want to be able to live anywhere with your child? Or
Yes.
so you do not want to be restricted just to the Culberson County?
Correct. Yes.
What's your, do you have a reason?
I'm currently in school, and the job that I'm in school for, they don't offer it in this county or in this town. And I would like to move to Lubbock when I'm finished with school. That's where I plan to move, and I would like to have the ability to do that when I'm done with school.
Okay. If you were required to have your address, personal information disclosed in the order, would that subject you to any harassment, harm, injury?
Yes.
Is that based on some of the things that we've already expressed as far as text messages and phone calls?
Yes, sir.
Would you like your address and personal information to be held confidential?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, no further questions for Ms. Baker?
Okay, all right, thank you. Just a few questions, Ms. Baker. Does Mr. Long, does he live in Dallas?
Yes, he lives in the Arlington area.
Okay. How long has he lived there? Do you know?
2 or 3 years, I believe. He's been back and forth from Austin and Arlington.
Okay, all right. And the last time he visited with Ellie was about, you said it was about 9 months ago?
The last time he came down here to visit her was in February. The last time he saw her in person, I was in Dallas, and we met at a park, and that was in October.
October, okay. All right. All right, I have no further questions for Ms. Baker. Mr. Hargis, any other evidence or testimony?
No, Your Honor, state rest.
Okay. All right, based on the evidence and testimony before the court, I'm going to go ahead and appoint Ms. Baker sole managing conservator of the child. There'll be no geographical restriction. I'll grant the request for non-disclosure of any of her information not to be disclosed in the court order. The court is very concerned about the testimony concerning the threats, drug abuse, and all that. So at this time, the court will order that there be no court-ordered visitation between Mr. Longoria and the child. If you allow him to visit with the child, then it'll be in whatever conditions or restrictions that you determine to be appropriate for your child's safety. Okay. But as far as any court-ordered visitation, there'll be no court-ordered visitation.
Okay.
Let's see what else. All right. Child support applications. What is the state's recommendation, Mr. Hargis?
Your Honor, based on the minimum wage presumption, $205 a month, beginning December 1st, 2020. Cash medical support in the amount of $113 a month, beginning December 1st, 2020, to reimburse the state. And retroactive child support judgment of $3,500. And $70 as of, and that's giving him credit for the $940 of credit. And that would be paid at the rate of $68 a month beginning December 1st, 2020.
Okay. December 1. Okay. All right, the court will follow recommendations setting child support medical support as recommended. Will grant a judgment for retroactive support retroactive to the date of birth of the child. Mr. Hargis, you may have broken up a little bit. You recommended retroactive 3,570.
Yes, Your Honor.
Was that including the credit?
Yes, Your Honor. That's subtracted.
Okay, so that's the judgment amount after credit. Okay. And you recommended $68 on the payment on the retroactive.
Yes, Your Honor. That'd be interest plus 50 would be $68.
Okay. All right. The court will follow that recommendation as well, and said, including the payment on the retroactive judgment. All these payments are to commence on December 1. All payments must be made through the registry of the court through the state disbursement unit. Okay. Let's see. Does that address all the issues, Mr. Hargis?
Your Honor, as far as submitting the order to the court, I was going to ask about that.
Okay. All right. Do you want to go ahead, Ms. Baker? The issue is, do you want to review the order before I sign it? Or can I go ahead and sign it without your, I mean, it's all on the record anyway. But do you want to review the order before I sign it, or can Mr. Hargis just submit the order to me?
Yeah, he can go ahead and submit it.
Okay. All right. That's fine, ma'am. Thank you. All right. Once I do receive the order, I will sign it. The order will then be filed with the clerk's office there in Horn, Culberson County, and it will be sent to the parties. Okay. Ms. Baker, do you have any questions or anything else that you needed to address?
No, I don't think so. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. All right. All right, Mr. Hargis, go ahead and prepare the order, send it to me through that DocuSign. I will sign it. And that should take care of our court hearing for today. That was our hearing then for today. Thank you, Ms. Baker, for your appearance today and your
Thank you.
participation.
Thank you,
And
Judge.
at this time, I'll go ahead and in this case, thank you. And I will end
Thank you.
the session. Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day, ma'am.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.